Hey everybody, this is the part 2 of my previous video about Diana and Unity Mitford. Thank you for continuing to watch this video. I'm going to jump right into the rest of that information. So we're going to pick it back up again with the interview between Martin Bright, the journalist, and the woman Audrey Smith, who was a resident of Wigington. And what Audrey Smith said was that she did see Unity Mitford at Hillview Cottage. And Martin Bright asked Audrey Smith if she had heard of anything, about Unity Mitford having a baby there. And Audrey Smith said no, she had never heard of anything like that. And then Martin Bright mentioned Val Hahn's account of what her aunt Betty Norton had seen, and that Betty Norton was there when they delivered the baby of Unity Mitford. And Audrey Smith said no, there's no way that that's what she was there for. Audrey Smith claims that Unity Mitford was at this maternity ward and at Hillview Cottage for a nervous breakdown. Okay, so that's her claim. Now, let's think about this. Audrey Smith claims that she saw Unity Mitford at Hillview Cottage. So there's a first-hand account, first-hand knowledge of seeing her there. The fact that she thought she was there for a nervous breakdown, in my opinion, it doesn't check out. This is a maternity ward. Why would someone be going there for a nervous breakdown? Now, what she claims is that it was somewhere kind of out of the way where people couldn't see her. But this family had, not only did they have their main residence, but they also have an island. They have an island where they could go, and that's actually where Unity ended up going and spending the rest of her days, at this island that they have. So, and I'll tell you a little bit more about the island in a second here. So, the account of Val Hahn, talking about her aunt's account rather, seems to be more credible to me than Audrey Smith's account. But it is really something that Audrey Smith was able to confirm that she saw her there. So, Unity Mitford ends up going to Inchkenneth, I-N-C-H, Inchkenneth, which is the private island in Scotland, which was owned by the Mitfords. She went there and she ended up spending the rest of her days there, okay? Now let's assume that Unity had this baby and that it was a baby boy. The baby would now be 80 years old. Okay, so it's an 80-year-old baby born in Britain. They could have gone anywhere in the world after that. If you remember back to some of the information that I've given in previous videos, Adolf Hitler had always said that his mission were to start and to continue the Aryan race through his genetics. He felt like his genetics were very important and they needed to be passed on. And this is a theme from many other people. Think about what Jeffrey Epstein has said about his own genetics and the attempts to seed the population, or the idea that he wanted to or needed to seed the population with his own, DNA. So you have this common theme of populating the world with this pure DNA, this perfect DNA. And Adolf Hitler was very, very hell-bent on this happening. Okay, let's talk about that baby that could have been born. I'm going to mention something, and I'm not saying that this is true, but you speculate and you make a decision on your own, okay? When Diana Mitford and Oswald Mosley came back to Britain, they were put into a prison. But before they were put into prison and they served 3 years in prison, Diana Mitford had a baby. Okay, so here's the timeline. So Unity returns to Britain January 1940, and Diana Mitford, before she goes to prison, she has her baby. His name is Max Mosley. He was born April 13th, 1940. So you have these pictures here of Unity Mitford coming back from Germany. She has these blankets on herself, and they're kind of covering her all up, and she actually did not even have to, she was not required to answer questions from the authorities. She was allowed to come, she was a confidant for Adolf Hitler, yet she was allowed to come home, enter her parents' care, not be questioned by authorities, and, you know, ushered into this, you know, vehicle immediately with these blankets covering her, and she has this strange, you know, expression on her face, almost as if she's like giggling and laughing, like she has this little secret. So the two theories are she's either brain damaged and she's giggling and laughing because of that reason, or she's kind of excited and happy because she's carrying Adolf Hitler's child and she's coming to Britain to give birth before war starts. If Adolf Hitler had all of these different girlfriends and all of these different love interests, it is so possible that he has multiple children all over the world. Now, let's reassess that timeline again. Unity returns to Britain in January 1940. Max Mosley is born April 13th, 1940. I mean, it's very possible that, you know, Max could be Unity's son. It's also possible that he's just Diana's son, and 11 weeks after she gave birth, she went into a prison. But I really don't know how likely that was, you know, but who knows? Who knows? Okay, let's take a look at this photo. This is Max Mosley when he was younger, and then this is him today. I just wanted to show you what he looks like. And then, of course, it's also possible that Diana had her baby, Max Mosley, and then Unity had a baby, and that the baby was just given to a foster family to be raised and then to be brought up and, you know, groomed as a leader of whatever country. All right, so this is the picture I wanted to show you guys of Janos. This is Janos Almasy. This is his wheelchair-bound wife, Maria. And then here is Unity Mitford, right in the middle. And then one of their other friends off to the right. Okay, so in conclusion, I want to show you one more thing. We're going to take a look at these Q drops here. And what I'm going to read from it is strictly about Hitler. We're not going to look at anything else but that Hitler part, okay? What happened during World War II? These are just questions that QAnon asks. Was Hitler a puppet? Who was his handler? What was the purpose? What was the real purpose of the war? This goes back to me watching that show, Peaky Blinders, and hearing the speech of Sir Oswald Mosley. And when I listened to that speech, it really made me think about the words that he was saying that pertain to nationalism. He's saying words like, you know, he's saying phrases like England first, okay? What are we saying right now in America? America first. I am a patriot. I have a view, like many patriots do, of being loyal to their nation. Okay? I'm not a globalist. I don't believe in globalism. What World War II did, there were many things that it did. There were many purposes for World War II, in my opinion. Did Adolf Hitler have a handler? Absolutely he did. I'm not going to say who I think it is, though, because there are many different opinions on that. Many different people that control the hidden hand. Was Hitler a puppet? Absolutely. But did he do horrible and horrific things? Absolutely. What was the real purpose of the war? Here's what my opinion is on the real purpose of World War II. I believe that all of these people that control the hidden hand want globalism for many different reasons. There's so much information out there about the reason for the elites wanting globalism. How were they able to make nationalism and make loving your country look so bad through Adolf Hitler? He says he wants to put Germany first. There's nothing wrong with putting your country first. But then he does all of these other horrible things, and it makes nationalism look atrocious. And just like many people have pointed out, all of the movies now are centered around, there's so much fascination about World War II and Nazi Germany. And it's like they want to re-traumatize us over and over again with the atrocities that took place during the Holocaust. We should know our history. We should know what happened during the Holocaust, because there were horrible things that happened and it should never happen again. However, to be re-traumatized through these movies over and over and over again, there's a purpose behind that, and there's a message that they want to drive home to us, and that they want to predictively program into our minds that nationalism is bad. So when I'm sitting there and I'm listening to his speech and he says, England first, immediately I thought, oh my gosh, all of the lefties, and whether you're left or right doesn't matter to me, I love everybody. I have my own opinions, but I still love everybody. All of the lefties, I guarantee, were just disgusted with him immediately. Then you have all of the horrible things that he had to say about Jewish people, okay? I believe that by our president saying America comes first right now, we need to take care of Americans, and we need to take care of our people right now, get our country in order, and then we can help other people. I believe he is trying to bring that term of America first, or Germany first, or, whatever country, Mexico first. Whatever country, I believe he is trying to make it okay again for us to be proud of our countries and proud of our heritage. The heritage of each country has something to offer. Each country has a unique culture and a unique people and a unique history to offer. And I had always dreamed about going to, Europe as a little girl. Always dreamed about seeing, the different, pyramids in Egypt, and also in Peru and in Mexico, and seeing these ancient structures, and seeing these beautiful cultures with their food and their diversity. That's not what globalists want. They want us to have one ideology and be one note so that we're more easily manipulated. That's the whole point of all of this. So let me just round this out by saying that there were many people that met Adolf Hitler, and you had opposing perceptions of the type of person that Hitler was. You have people that, when they met him, like Unity Mitford, they were completely smitten by him. They were, like Diana Mosley. She thought he was an interesting person. She said, I love clever people. I love interesting people. So did Unity Mitford. She was just so thrilled to be around him. Many people were obsessed with Hitler, and a lot of people perceived him as charismatic. So you have those people. Then on the other hand, you have people that were not interested in him at all. A really great example of that was Pam Mitford, Unity's sister, who met Hitler and said that he was boring, and said that he was like here, let me get this quote. She said that, she described him as very ordinary, like an old farmer in a brown suit. Okay? So you have all these people that are just completely disillusioned by him. Here's another person, Orson Welles, the famous actor and director. He met Hitler one time. He was hiking with a friend in Germany when he was young, and they stopped at a tavern, and this was before Hitler was big and everything, but he was well known, and this was like the brown suits period. And so he had accidentally met Hitler, and then later his friend said, oh, you just met Hitler. He sat right next to him at the table where they were eating. And he said he was forgettable. He didn't even realize that he had met him because he was very underwhelming and had no personality. So how does someone that in all reality probably had, a very dull personality, not very interesting, become this great, all of a sudden he's a great orator and he's a great, man in the eyes of his people? Well, we all know that he used propaganda and that there was a lot of predictive programming. But then you also have the other side of it with individuals like Unity Mitford, where she is being told as a child by her parents that things like predestination are important. She's being raised to believe in these things. And then she meets Adolf Hitler, and he confirms all of that to her and tells her it's no coincidence that your middle name is Valkyrie and that you were born in Swastika, Canada, and that your grandfather was a fascist and friends with Wagner and so on. So if Hitler was told by his handlers that he's special, his DNA is special, he has a mission, and he's going to, whatever they told him, I don't know what they told him. Maybe they said he's going to save the human race, or he's going to create something that, whatever. And then you have other individuals like Eva Braun and Unity Mitford, and even Unity's mother was completely taken by Hitler and just loved him. So it really makes me wonder what these people are being told. And the last thing I'm going to say about this is I recently listened to a podcast with a guy. There he is right here. He's an author. His name is Tom O'Neill, and he just wrote a book called Chaos: Charles Manson, the CIA, and the Secret History of the 60s. And Tom's being interviewed about his book, and he starts to talk about Charles Manson and the fact that he was most likely being used by a government agency such as the CIA for whatever their purposes are. And he mixes in some information about MK Ultra and some of the places where Charles Manson was taking people, taking his groupies, or taking, not groupies, but taking his, his lovers, but then also these guys that he wanted to kind of initiate into this life, experimenting on them with LSD and also MK Ultra. I highly recommend that you listen to Tom O'Neill on the Joe Rogan podcast. It is eye-opening because the first book, Helter Skelter, that was written about Charles Manson, I don't want to say it's all lies, the majority of it is fiction, according to Tom O'Neill. He researched Charles Manson for 20 years, and then finally he wrote this book, and it is excellent information. And to me, the connection that I'm making between Charles Manson and everything I've just talked about with Adolf Hitler, Charles Manson was experimented on as well and believed that he had a higher calling, a higher purpose. He was told this. And so when you take someone and you tell them that they're going to accomplish this mission, and then that individual tells the people around him or her, but most of the time it's him, they're telling the people around them, listen, I have this mission, you're going to help me, you're going to help me to, whatever it is, to further the human race or change the course of history, and I'm going to be a great person, you're going to be a great person in history, well known and well loved. And so it's the manipulation at childhood to tell them that they have a mission. It's all of the manipulation from these leaders. And then you get these situations where you have generational plans or generational missions that are carried out by the children and the grandchildren and the great-grandchildren. And then you get the families, and Q often talks about the families and what the bloodlines are. Do you understand who the bloodlines are and all of that? So I'm going to end this video there. I hope that you all got good information. I am going to just really quickly read off a few of those resources again, where I would recommend looking up some of these interviews and these bits of information that you can find. But like I said before, I would just Google search or YouTube search Diana Mitford, and you're going to find that she has done many different interviews, and there are many different biographies on the Mitford sisters, and also there's also an interview with Sir Oswald Mosley. So those are all on YouTube. And then you can also find the book about Diana Mitford called Mrs. Guinness, The Rise and Fall of Diana Mitford by Lyndsy Spence. And let's go back to this book again. We have, of course, Chaos, Charles Manson, the CIA. And then this is one that I would highly recommend, The Lost Oasis, The True Story Behind the English Patient by Saul Kelly. And that's where I'm going to leave it. All right, thank you so much for subscribing, and thank you so much for listening. And if you have any questions or you need more information about anything in particular, I recommend you research it on your own, but if you need a little bit of guidance, please reach out to me. And I also want to ask if anybody has an interest in learning how to research and just learning how to start digging into things, put in the comment section below to let me know if anyone has an interest in learning how to research, because I'd like to put together a tutorial on how to do this type of research. So if anyone's interested, please comment below, and thank you so much and have a great day.